You're listening to Food Tech Talk, Supply Chain Insights from Farm to Fork, a podcast discussing the latest trends and technology in the food and supplement industries, featuring conversations with regulatory experts, quality and safety champions, and thought leaders across the industry. I'm your host, Lydia Adams. Let's jump right in. Welcome to another episode of Food Tech Talk, Supply Chain Insights from Farm to Fork. Today, we're delighted to welcome Dr. Vera Petrova Dickinson, a seasoned global leader in food safety and quality management with extensive experience at companies like Disney, Mondelez International, Mars Wrigley, Danone, and Sargento Foods. Vera is the founder and CEO of Innova-Q, a company that is revolutionizing food safety and quality by integrating cutting-edge technologies such as AI and predictive analytics. With a passion for driving innovation in food safety, Vera has built her career around transforming processes to ensure safer, higher quality food products across the globe. Welcome to the show, Vera.
Thank you for having me.
So I'd love to hear more about your journey in food safety and quality management and really what inspired you to start Innova-Q.
Yes, thank you for the question. Well, my journey is quite ordinary. I started as a food microbiologist over 2 decades ago. As you mentioned, I worked for incredible companies and was very lucky to have incredible experiences and being led by really remarkable leaders, I would say. The interesting part about this journey is that I actually found that no matter the size of a company, our challenges within the industry, within the food and beverage, and then later I learned not just food and beverage, but any manufacturer, is very similar. And that is because of antiquated technologies, we're not capable of governing food safety and quality practices very effectively. The challenges is that we're awfully reactive, as you know. There were no opportunities for us to implement really predictive capabilities, which of course we're going to talk about today. We're in a better place with this new technology coming to us. And I just felt like myself and my teams were on this, the same cycle of react, firefight. And I felt when I started looking at other functions and how they're leveraging technology very successfully, learning more and more in the last decade about AI, I just saw very clearly how we, in our field, can really successfully deploy this technology to help us. And so about 2 years ago, when Gen AI actually came to the market, I decided that it was time for me to leave the comfort of corporate world and take all of my learnings to start building solutions for the industry that could be helpful for the small and the bigger guy in controlling quality of products. Really, our ambition now is to bring modernization to food safety and quality practices. And we want to create, and already have actually created, a couple of products that I'm going to talk about today that are pragmatic and cost-effective. And that was kind of at the heart of the ambition. Like I said, we want to provide this technology to the entire industry. So it means anyone can afford it. This is where we are. We're in Austin, Texas, in the Mecca of technology. And I was very, very fortunate to find a very capable team that is actually bringing my dreams and my ambitions to reality.
No, that's a wonderful story. And I think what's interesting about it is that you've worked for these really big names and then kind of chosen to go your own path as an entrepreneur. Could you talk about maybe how those experiences of, working at these larger companies really helped you move into the role that you're in now, at Innova-Q, owning this company?
Yeah, thank you for this question. It's very interesting because working in big companies, you understand, first of all, leadership skills. You also understand how different functions operate. And you have an opportunity to work on the ground level as well, to understand what the not just the corporate world looks like, right? But the teams on the ground, what type of challenges they deal with. And what you learn is that these big companies are, it's quite challenging, although they have all the resources, right? So big IT organizations and a lot of budgets poured into this space. It's still very difficult to bring innovation through, particularly in food safety and quality. Um, Unfortunately, I'll be very transparent. Still, in many companies, the assumption is, or the thought process is, that quality and food safety is a cost spending. It's not a benefit. It's not the competitive advantage that it is. And my whole life, I've been really looking for changing this thought process, because now that we're deploying the technology that we're deploying, you can very, very clearly see that quality actually plays a very, very important role in your ability to stay in the market as a successful company, because consumers are looking for products that are cost effective, but then also that meet their quality expectations. And so this competition will continue to be really fierce. So with big companies, it's although the talk is there, still it was very, very difficult to make changes that are impactful and immediate. But at the same time, the caliber of talent that would lead these functions was incredible. So some of the bosses that I had, such as Frank Yanis or Peter Bagg, they were truly innovators. They really, really still drive quite a bit of change in the industry. And, I just learned from them and from, their ability to be fearless when it comes to it and sticking to their guns. Yeah.
Truly, it sounds like you've learned under some of the best in the industry. And I agree that really, with this industry, and I know a lot of others, but specifically for food safety, it is about the innovations. So, how do you identify the most impactful innovations that will really move the needle in terms of improving, quality and food safety in your work at Innova-Q?
It's all based on my experience. I mean, all the bumps that I have on my head, all the gray hairs, which you probably cannot see right now, I hide them very well. Um, it's all that experience kind of brought me to where we are at the company, and where we are is that we need to create, like I said, pragmatic solutions that are easy to deploy, that they're affordable, that don't require extensive training from the teams either. So I have always, for the last probably 10 years, have been focused on looking at the data that we have internally and trying to make sense out of what it means holistically. And it was very, very difficult to do when you were actually when you don't have the systems or support like AI, for example, that can aggregate everything in one, right, and give you the data insights that you so need when you are particularly in a very high corporate leadership role. So what I've always wanted as a leader is what I'm bringing to the market right now. And what happens is that, as for any entrepreneur, you want to find a solution that has a perfect market placement, product that is coveted. And reality is, I was not the only leader, and still not the only leader, who needs to understand what's happening across their network, who needs to understand it very deeply, but also needs to be one step ahead of the game. So I've always tried to find solutions that allow me to be predictive Of course, without AI, it's impossible. So the changes that we're bringing through generative AI and AI are really paramount. We've got now, for the first time ever, besides forecasts, we can start building correlations between different KPIs. How does sanitation, for example, results impact your ultimate product quality, or increase or decrease of certain consumer or customer complaints? How does it impact your future yield, product yield? That's incredible. Like, you finally have the picture. You can talk to the business about the really true impact of food safety and quality practices that right now we're looking at as a cost, as a benefit. Give me more resources. Allow me to do my job better, say in sanitation, right? Or build a better equipment right now, invest X number of money right now. You will get X amount in return. And that happens, these calculations happen very quickly. So in any critical discussion with senior leadership, you can actually have this data at your fingertips and be equipped with an objective discussion about what you need. But what else is happening is that we finally can use generative AI in this whole picture. And things like data points like customer or consumer complaints that before this technology we had to manually categorize and then manually put into visualization. Now this technology can analyze qualitative, really comments that recorded somewhere. It can understand the patterns and give you results within seconds. So you've got customizable reports that not only give you the insights into what really customers or consumers want, but you also have at your fingertips very, very comprehensive list of what out of that feedback from risk standpoint is the most important to you, and what type of actions, recommendations on actions you should put in place to improve the situation. So that's like mind-boggling, right? We've never had this before. So it is truly, when you said we bring revolutionary solutions, it truly is a revolutionary way of how we're going to be looking at quality and food safety.
What you said is really key, that I think in the past, looking back, it definitely was, obviously, we want to keep our food safe, and it's what we should do. And, we need to comply with these regulations. But I think that it was seen as kind of being over here in this separate area and not necessarily contributing to the bottom line of the business. And where we are today is that the companies that are doing these extra measures and connecting the dots with technology, those are the ones that are seeing the benefits from, just even reputation, brand, sales, all of those kind of metrics that are just overarching business metrics, because the consumers want to buy those products. And what you're doing by adding that element of predictive analytics kind of allows them to almost look further into the future, which is really exciting, from an industry perspective, but then also internally, it allows for this previous cost center of food safety and quality to really become like core to the business success, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah, I can give you a few numbers, which will probably blow your mind. If you actually start deploying very carefully governance systems that govern quality and food safety practices, you can have between 2 to 4% savings in your revenue. Think about a few billion-dollar company, how much money they can save on a yearly basis. And that is just by putting together all the critical to quality and food safety data in one space. I'm not even talking about your ability to deploy generative AI and building forecasts and pinpointing when an issue can potentially happen so it doesn't blow out of proportion. This is just direct savings that you are looking at, that we are estimating based on our clients. So this technology is breakthrough. I mean, to me, if you were to ask me what the future looks like, right, and how do I evaluate this whole space, I think companies that will not use this technology is going to be competed. Because I go back to that. What does the consumer want? The consumer wants a cheap product with the highest quality. Those are the two attributes that they're looking at. And for some reason, we're just, I don't know why we are just, we have to switch our brain to really look at the superiority of this quality related to the product.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. Like, I sometimes see hesitancy for something like AI, like, introducing that into your business. And I think a lot of it just has to do with a lack of understanding of how to do that. So, what advice do you have for companies that are, listening to this, food safety, leaders that are sitting there going, this is what I want to do, but like, I'm having trouble just getting this going and getting the adoption internally for an AI-driven solution?
I can actually give you some tangible examples of journeys that we went through with some of our clients, because it is a challenge, because we are dealing with like early innovators who probably experienced AI in their personal life and then saying like, yeah, it has, like, it's amazing, so let's give it a shot. And the way that we're approaching it, we're actually starting with relatively simple deployment of relatively simple solutions. So we have right now two very ready for deployment products. One is called Innova-Q Knowledge Center, which is a generative AI product, and it's built on a comprehensive set of FDA external requirements and regulations and tools. And so it allows companies to work with compliance requirements and build them in their design of their products or design of their facilities very, very easily, and then build it into their daily life. So you have an interactive tool that evaluates a very complex set of food laws, provides you the insights with all the relative citations, all the recommendations for next steps that you can just plug and play with, right, within seconds. It can create for you a standard operating procedure or do a hazard assessment very effectively. So that tool is very, very easy to deploy. It's almost, within a month, you can also combine it with your internal requirements, your company's requirements, and then your teams can start using it in their daily basis. So that one is what we always recommend to start with. Just play with it. Just get a taste of what that technology can do for you on a daily basis. And people start it's I'll tell you on my personal example is that it becomes so addictive. It's like, do you remember the time when you had to calculate everything in your head and then a very advanced calculator came to be, right? Now, do you ever do something complex math in your brain? No, you're going to pull your iPhone and do it, or like Google Maps. You cannot imagine your life without them. So the same happens here. So you can break the ice with a relatively easy to deploy product, and then allow people to understand what it can do to their data set, to their predictive assessments, so they can see tangible applicability. And we do it, we deploy the more complex product, which we call quality performance forecast, in examples of one plant at once, and then another plant. And then people start talking in the network, and they start getting so excited about the product that it becomes contagious. So my recommendation: start small, allow people to see the power of technology, and it becomes so incredible that, it becomes the talk of the year.
Let's say a company has done this, they've kind of implemented some of these AI-driven tools. How can they show the clear ROI surrounding that, and the value to the business, and what KPIs, do you recommend that they focus on once they've kind of implemented a technology such as this?
Let's take the InQ Knowledge Center as an example. When you start creating something like your operating procedure within seconds versus months, you understand your return on investment immediately. When you have these incredible efficiencies put in place, for example, in the R&D work, when the quality and design process is so intricate. I mean, I worked with the most sophisticated systems in my career. For example, with Danone, one of my teams that I led dealt with quality and design. It's a process that involves months of meetings and conversations and toxicology assessments, microbiology assessments, and so on and so forth before the product is deployed. You can shrink that time to a month, which is unbelievable for your competitive advantage. Imagine if you can produce a product in that shorter of amount of time. Imagine if you can qualify your new engineering line, for example, your product line, that much faster. And you can deliver tangible, safe product to the market that much faster. The amount of return on investment, I'm just giving you some of the very simple examples. But imagine if you deploy quality performance forecast, allows you to be predictive, right? So it builds forecasts for you. Imagine if you can identify an issue now, hold it, react to it faster before something blows up and then becomes uncontrollable. Or you can prevent it from even before anything happens, right? Before the equipment stops and you have to recycle your sanitation practices. So now we're talking about not only a reduction of waste, unneeded waste, rework from human resources standpoint. Now you're talking about sustainability, the amount of chemicals that you're going to be saving, hours, potential stoppage of the equipment, energy that you're saving. So it's a conversation of now you're going broader. It's return on investment on many sides, cross-functional. It's really exciting.
It really is. And I'm glad you brought up sustainability as well, because I think, that's another trend that we're really seeing in the industry right now, is that that's essential. Like, you really cannot be a food company or be within this industry and not have a focus towards that. So, maybe share kind of how these types of innovative AI technologies, help the sustainability of a company and the food safety simultaneously.
I can tell you one thing. I still don't understand why in many companies, at least those that, I had experience with, why these two functions are separated. Because we're really after the same ambition, right? We want safety for all. Safety for the planet, safety for the consumer. But what happens in real life is when sustainability team works on their strategy and then quality and food safety team over here, and we're all disjointed, we're kind of pulling the blanket on our own side, where there's so many synergies. I just gave you some examples. If you focus on quality, prevention of quality issues, and control food safety, you are inevitably contributing to your sustainability goals. They should be intertwined.
I think that that's absolutely true. And I think that's what we're really kind of seeing now, just connecting those dots. These are not independent functions. Whether you're talking about, quality, food safety, sustainability, and even as I mentioned, kind of like how it relates to the other parts of the business, it's really all together. And it seems like technology is kind of the glue that's bringing a lot of these pieces together. Is that what you're also seeing at Innova-Q?
Yeah, truly. It is. Because again, what it does for us, for the first time ever, revolutionary really, it sees the connecting points where we intuitively knew that they exist, but now objectively those correlations are being presented to you, right? Based on mounts of historical data that ordinarily just sat there in the, without proper use. Now you can actually, not only based on the historical data, can demonstrate how much potential money and waste we could have saved, but now you can build all of this into the future predictions, and it becomes incredibly powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're probably the best person to ask this question to, but really, what emerging trends do you really see in the next 5 to 10 years? And how is this generative AI that, we're all now adopting and excited for, how is that going to change?
I don't know how Gen AI is going to change it. It's just going to be that much more powerful. We see models that are being shown to be offered on the market almost every month, sometimes every other week, that become better and better and better. So my brain is just cannot even compute the future, because I think that we as humans, are going to be so entrenched in technology. We already are, right? Think about your iPhone. You can't do anything without the iPhone anymore, right? But AI, I think, and Gen AI is going to be the name of the game for any industry. Period. 5 years, I think, is even 2 years' time. It's going to be it's just something you have to do, because you can't create efficiencies like that in a conservative way, with conservative systems. They just don't work. Look at the recall data. People are still dying. We've put so much forth, so many controls, and we can't seem to crack the code. And I think this one, I don't even think I see it with our clients. This is what's going to change the industry.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just kind of going back to another, something you said earlier, it's going to become to the point where those that are not adopting these technologies or not using, the tools available are just not really going to survive to the next stage of our future in the industry. So yeah, no, I totally agree with that. A couple more questions before we wrap up. You're obviously a leader within the industry, and you've been for quite some time. You've created Innova-Q. You've made a large impact. What legacy do you hope to leave in this industry?
It's a good question, because what's fascinating to me, it hasn't changed in 20 years. When I was graduating, actually, even when I entered my PhD program, it was still the same. I do not want to be a waste. What I mean by it, I want to positively contribute to humanity. I really believe that we deserve, as consumers, safe products. It's our basic right. And I've always looked at it, how can I just a small individual, right, can help move this needle. I sure hope that I'm going to make a difference through bringing this innovation to the industry and making it so delightful for people to use. Like that's it's probably the best, the most encouraging thing that I deal with on a daily basis is when people start using our technology and they have these like breakthrough moments. Like when I started using it, I couldn't sleep for several days. I'm like, oh my God, it can fix this problem, this problem, this. It's just overwhelming sense of we finally have something that is so helpful. And so because I know very intimately problems in the market, I really believe that, and because I finally found the talent to build products like we need and expect and consumer expects, I really think that we will make that we'll bring this change to the market. We'll continue to work on this.
I love that. Obviously, the impact you've made is already there, but it's very exciting to see what the future holds. So one more question for you, and I like to do this sometimes, just kind of, a lot of people, you've worked for a lot of folks that, a lot of us admire. Who would you like to take to lunch within the industry and just kind of pick their brain and have a conversation?
I've actually have always been fascinated by a combination of different fields. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I wanted to combine what I know with something that I don't know. So different scientific fields like food safety and quality and AI and technology coming together. So I actually would love to have a conversation not with a leader from food safety and quality as much as from the field that I'm just learning so much about. And the book that I'm looking at is about Elon Musk. So he's actually pretty much a neighbor, right? So he lives in Austin. I went to Tesla Gigafactory here. Was just amazed by the sheer volume of product that they develop. So the robotics were just incredible. But I want to know how people like him go from zero to this. He truly is changing the way that we're looking at many different industries. And that fascinates me. I want to have conversations with people who drive really historical changes. Would be really cool.
As you said, it's basically the field of technology and innovation is, everywhere. And it's just very exciting to see it kind of, really develop within our space of food safety. So any other final words of advice for our audience in terms of innovative technology?
I think AI is super exciting and a little bit scary. And one reason why I would love to talk to Elon is because he's probably one of the people who warns us against what AI actually can bring from negative standpoint as well. So how cautious we should be with deployment of it. But when I think about food safety and quality and application of AI in our field, I think about saving lives. We've seen it, that it can do. It can control product quality. It can really help teams. So my last words of wisdom are probably, I know it's scary. It's not very well known. There are different myths about it. And my recommendation is just, please try it. Just see what it can do for you. It's not as scary as what Elon Musk drives about the future, in robots and Terminators. In this application, it can actually help us. So as with any power, it can be used for good and for bad. I believe what we're doing really full-heartedly, we're going to bring some benefit to the people, to humanity through it. So I really, really hope that we have more early innovators who lean into this and give this technology a chance, give Innova-Q a chance, because you will see they're really, really impactful changes.
Well, it was so nice, Vera, to talk to you and to speak to another Austinite on the show.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lydia.
Yeah, and for our audience, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And thanks so much for listening. Thank you for joining us for another bite-sized nugget of food tech talk, supply chain insights from farm to fork. To learn more about Trustwell and its technology platform that connects product formulation, nutrition analysis, and compliant labeling with traceability, recall readiness, and supply chain transparency, please visit www.trustwell.com. Thanks for listening.